Before we start, I just wanted to thank you for tuning in. And if you're enjoying my content and would like to support, then you can subscribe to my YouTube channel or leave a comment. Or if you're listening, then you can rate and review the One Day Podcast on Apple Podcast. This stuff really helps and allows my content to reach a wider audience.
Every day from 7 a.m. till 3 p.m., full-time employee, and then from 4 to 9, studying my higher diploma. And from 9 till 12, entertain my family. I'm living in an extended family, like my grandmothers, my uncles and aunties, and the whole family gathered in a daily basis. And those social responsibilities. And then midnight till early morning to do my homeworks and prepare for next day classes. I enjoyed that rush times of my early age. That's what took me to come here, a commitment to my goals, where I want to reach.
This is the One Day Podcast. My name is Omar Al-Majali, and each week I am bringing you some of the most accomplished and inspiring minds in the Middle East and the world to give you a glimpse of their professional life and pull back the curtain a bit on the real and untold story of their success, to inspire you and help you learn from those who have walked the walk so you could move one day closer to your own goals. Hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome everyone to another episode of the One Day Podcast. Our guest for the day is someone I personally look up to and have had the pleasure to work under their incredible leadership. Our guest is Dr. Aisha bin Butti bin Bishr, the first female executive to lead the transformation of a smart city globally, as she was the former founding Director General of Smart Dubai, the government entity leading the smart city agenda in Dubai. And prior to that, Dr. Aisha acted as the Assistant Director General, meaning the second person in command at the Executive Office of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Prime Minister and Vice President of the UAE and ruler of Dubai. Today, Dr. Aisha is the Vice Chairman of Emaar Development, in addition to running her own passion businesses on the side. Dr. Aisha is one of the most recognized and looked up to figure by the youth of the region because of her charismatic leadership, advocacy towards female empowerment, and the significant contributions and titles she's held throughout her 25-year career in the government and ICT sectors of Dubai and the UAE. And the incredible work and contributions that Dr. has made regionally and internationally has earned her well-deserved recognitions. To name just a few recent ones, she was named as one of the world's most influential Arabs by Arabian Business Magazine in 2019, and she was ranked as the top 10 Power Businesswomen in the Middle East by Forbes in 2020. This was a lot. Welcome, Dr.
Marhaba, Umar. It's my pleasure to be with you on this platform.
Thank you so much. Honestly, I'm really excited about this discussion, and I've been hyped about it for a while now because one, I know the audience is going to love every bit of it, every bit of wisdom you're going to share with them. And you have a huge fan base out there. And two, I am personally invested in this because I witnessed firsthand the kind of leader you were and how truly inspiring and how touching you were to every person you came across. And there's a lot that I want to know about you personally that I'm hoping we can uncover during our conversation.
Inshallah. I'll try to be as simple as possible.
Inshallah.
And you know me, Umar, I'm straightforward.
Exactly, which is why I think the conversation is going to be a great one. I'll start it off with a very simple question. Did you ever see Dr. Aisha reaching where she is today in life, career, accomplishments?
No, wallahi, Umar, when I was a child, I dreamt to be there in a decision-making position, or at least a decision-making influencer. I've always shared this story about al-majlis in our culture and how men are allowed to enter to that majlis of the sheikhs and how they are allowed to influence the decision of their highnesses. Being a woman and a young girl, this was a dream for me to be part the council, let us say, in its basic format. But it wasn't allowed. And every time, like my grandpa and my father, they were laugh when I was like 5-6 years, running after them to join them, going to His Highness Majlis. And I grew just wanting and like eagering to enter through the Majlis, basically. But not necessary to the position I reached.
So you've always had it in you as a kid, this urge to want to be part of the executive decision making and be part of these gatherings.
Absolutely. And also, Umar, I used to hear from my grandmothers about the great ladies who used to run the cities during old days. Sheikh Hassa Bint the grandmother of Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, she used to run the city with her husband, Sheikh Saeed. She used to be the advisor with him. Sheikh Salama Al-Hamid in Abu Dhabi, the mother of Sheikh Zayed, she was the one behind having the deal for the petrol contract with the British petroleum companies and making sure that we will have percentages that will go as a long investment body. Hearing about them and also about my own great mothers and my ancestors from a female perspective, this was always inspiring that I can reach to that position. Nothing can stop me from reaching the same level they reached.
That's really inspiring, Doctor. What was the one thing that it took for you to get here? If you had to choose one thing top of your head that really got Dr. Aisha to where she is today, what would you say that reason was?
The entertainment that usually young people enjoy during their early ages. For me, it wasn't a luxury, even though no one asked me to take this path. Yani, alhamdulillah, I'm coming from a family that can cover all my expenses and just live like my sisters, my cousins, my friends in my community. But I took the other path to work as a full-time and continue my education as part-time. I wanted to earn my own, to have my own income away from my father, away from my family, and just to show them that me as a young lady, I can be responsible and committed to work and be something in the community. Because always, like they used to say, as a young girls, we are spoiled. Especially during the 80s, there's enough of money to be relaxed, especially at the beginning of building our country. And I didn't like it, to be honest. And that's what pushed me to take that path. And every day from 7 a.m. till 3 p.m., full-time employee. And then from 4 to 9, studying my higher diploma. And from 9 till 12, entertain my family. I'm living in an extended family, like my grandmothers, my uncles and aunties, and the whole family gathered in a daily basis. And those social responsibilities. And then midnight till early morning to do my homeworks and prepare for next day classes. I enjoyed that rush times of my early age. That's what took me to come here, a commitment to my goals, where I want to reach. I think this is the one thing, if I would say any young person who want to pursue their career, to have commitment to their dreams.
You did not accept the reality of the path that was set for females maybe back then in our time, especially in the Arab world.
True.
For those who do not know already, you're considered to be a local celebrity. You've got, mashallah, over 120,000 followers on Instagram. You almost have 150,000 followers on Twitter. And I wouldn't say that's very typical for someone in the government space. People are not maybe into politics, or they don't perceive it as so entertaining. What is it about you that people love, respect, and admire, honestly, though?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this was a bless or a curse. Being a liberal from a very young age, I've always wanted to speak loud my own thoughts. When I went abroad to continue my education, taking my master and my PhD, one thing that my supervisors advised me to overcome those dead ends when you do your research is to try to do something away from your own topic. It was just the start of social media, and the blogging concept started. So yes, I started writing about what's happened around me, whether it be in the university or as a student or as an Arab person, reflecting my own perspectives and views. But I didn't see that this will take me to anywhere else. And then when I came back, Twitter came, 2010. Before 2007 was Facebook. So I took all these platforms as a trial base and first adapters. And what I like about myself, actually, that I'm open to try all these new technologies around me. To test it, it might work with me or it might not, but I'm just open to see how I will react to such a kind of tools. Facebook, after a few months, I didn't see myself in it. Twitter was a challenge to squeeze my ideas and my thoughts to put them in 140 letters. We were very few people in UAE and even in the region to be the early adapter for Twitter. And I've been always also there writing about what's happened politically around us, not necessarily about UAE, but in the region. Alhamdulillah, we are blessed, to be honest, that we don't have that extreme political
sides or like stances, positions.
What we have here in UAE, and I always call it a fatherhood system. Our relation with the rulers is more into parenting rather than government to citizens. And this is a bless. We are carrying on our tribal values to a new form of governing, but without losing those roots. And that's what we can see today, alhamdulillah, stability in our country. But that doesn't mean that I don't have my own views about services and about different projects and initiatives in our country. And the moment I took that executive role, it was very dangerous to continue talking about my own views, because it's not anymore I'm talking as Aisha. I'm stamped as a public servant. So I try to balance what I write, that I don't overcome, I would not say red lines, but what is acceptable for other decision makers around me. And again, I went into different, I will not call them war, but touches between me and different leaders and different government entities because of my tweets sometimes. And I've been always known to be honest. And when you are honest in your views and vision, it's not always acceptable by others. But for young generation, they see that this is what they want. They are eager to hear and listen the reality. And when they see me as a decision maker, a person holding a post in the government, but yet open and approachable to them through a different platform, whether it be LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, there is a common language between them and me. Me, not as Aisha, me representing the government. And to be honest, I liked it because this is the direction of the government, to be open, to be transparent, to be close to people. So I ride that way. That's what made me actually very famous among the young generation, and also working very close with my daughter to show others that we as parents can be together with our kids on these platforms and enjoy this relation publicly.
100%. That's so cool.
Which wasn't accepted by other parents. Like, how come you are allowing your daughter to tweets also and speak her own mind? I just enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And today, alhamdulillah, many of my daughter friends, they call me their mother and or auntie, and they wish that their parents are like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not easy, Umar. I'll tell you, it's so difficult.
I'm sure.
To play the role of a friend rather than a parent to your kids.
Of course.
But I'm always like holding my heart and say, I can't do it.
I bet. I mean, being a parent is one of the hardest projects ever. I'm sure that you had to uptake. And you're right, by the way, our generation, we see through what's fake and what's real. And that's why I'm sure that you have a huge fan base, because I think you also represent this new era of Arabs in our region, female Arabs in our region, expressing their views and being vocal or expressing their lifestyles on these platforms.
Especially Umar, in this region, even though that people see Dubai and UAE a business hub and very open-minded from a business perspective, but from a society and community perspective, we are still very conservative. We need to work very hard to keep that balance between the model that the community fixed us to be in and to also express our own views and our own perspective about life. When I started, like during the 90s and early 2000s, it was difficult to also be in a higher rank in the government and being a lady and keeping your traditional clothes like abaya and Arab local dresses. I insisted to wear them to show the other ladies, elder generation, that we can reach to those levels without losing our roots and losing our attachment to our community. My mom was always under the pressure what the other peers, women in our community will talk about me. But like sitting in a majlis with other ladies, and whenever the news will come on TV, and they will put like a snapshot about a visit or a trip that I'm there in, and they see me wearing my abaya, and the same me in Dubai is the same me in Seattle or in Barcelona, they feel proud. They like share this proud and gratitude to my mom that, mashallah, Aisha represent us very well when he's abroad. So, this was one of the things that I insisted to carry with me to show the other female, because to be honest, Omar, it's not the male or the colleagues, the men in our community who are holding women from growing. It's the mothers, the aunties, and the peers, our ladies around us who are holding the women from growing in their career.
Oh, that's very, very, very interesting. I think we're going to come to that point at some point during our discussion. Great insight there, Doctora. You mentioned your education. I want to talk a bit about your education because there's a lot of credentials there. You hold a PhD in management, science, technology, and innovation. You hold a Master of Philosophy and Policy and Research on engineering, science, and technology. There's a lot of science and technology. Sounds really cool. Sounds really complicated. Yeah. My question is, why technology? Why ICT? Have you always been into it? Was it a passion of yours? Where did it come from?
See, it started from very young age, my interaction with technology. Playing Atari. Even though I'm not a big fan of games. But this was like a gift from my uncle when he used to study in US. He sent me a box of early Atari machine with, I think, 20 games. And I was like showing off in our neighborhood that I have the Atari. So the girls and boys will come to our home to play the Atari, and I'll be the supervisor to make sure that they are using it very well, not playing with them. And then after a few years, like mid-80s, my brother graduated from US and came with his first Macintosh machine. And the screensaver for me was something new. How did they develop fish aquarium in this machine? Did they draw it? Is it like a cartoon? Is it something else? But that was the limit. And then when I started like after the high school, you can't believe it, huh? And I started as a medical student. I went to Ireland to study medicine. And those days, parents want their kids as doctors or engineers. So my dad decided that you will study medicine. Why me? I don't see myself as a doctor. No, you have to study it. So he forced me, to be honest. He took me to Ireland, whether you like it or not, you'll study. I didn't complete there. And I came here to UAE back after 1 year, searching what do I want to study. The University of UAE in Al Ain, started like 2 years in medicine, then I changed to English literature, quit from there, then took interior designing in the AUD when they just started here in Dubai, and then Arab literature in Beirut University, So I tried different things for 3 years. I was like exploring where I'll find myself. But during those times, I was working full time. And then it was in 1997 when in UK, they start to focus more studying business information technology because they wanted to have this influence of ICT in businesses. So they wanted to graduate more people who has both the business side and technology side. And they opened here in Dubai, the Polytechnic, which is merged with Leeds Metropolitan in UK. Today it's called University of Dubai. So as part of the first batch, it was part-time curriculum. And subhanAllah, in 3 years, we were 120 students who entered that batch, and only 7 graduated after 3 years. It was tough. People who came there, they thought that this is a mixed program. And, during those days, late 90s, still having mixed schools wasn't very well accepted in the community. So many of the boys and girls, they joined just because of that open community, I would say. And I'm being frank here, please accept my openness.
Of course, that's what I want. I want complete openness.
بس alhamdulillah, taking that course, and before it also in Ittisalat, when I used to work there, I took many part-time classes in programming because I wanted to compete with my colleagues who were from a different nationality, but they were like a lobby. They don't want anyone from other nationalities to enter and they're like a community as an employees in Ittisalat, and they are holding all those jobs. And I just want to grow also in my career. So I took many of the basic programming languages in many of the training centers in Dubai. I funded myself in those early days. My salary, wallah, you can believe it was 4,000 dirhams, but I enjoyed every penny of those 4,000 dirhams, taking like a used PC, register many of these courses, learning basic language, Fox language, PHP language, and later on even HTML and so forth. Taking that course of business information technology opening new perspective for me. Like, wow, I can change the businesses by adapting these technologies and re-engineer the whole business concept. And again, it was during the early days of internet. Internet entered UAE in 1994, and it was the year that I joined Etisalat. And in the year 2000, when it was like the year YK, I was part of that team to handle all the systems in Etisalat to make sure that they will not shut down during the new year of 2000. So knowing that how this new tools, the technology, PCs, computers, internet, influence our life, pushed me more to focus and to grow my academic in that major.
That's amazing. And I'm pretty sure that honestly back then, Doctora, you were one of the very few females who enter this scientific world. I mean, until today.
Well, to be honest, Sheikha Lubna was the pioneer. Oh. And she was the first lady to travel abroad to study in the US computer science.
Oh, nice.
When she graduated from higher school, I think it was 1975. And I'm born 1973.
Oh,
so she was the early adopters for technology. And even when she came, she was like part of the first team that His Highness entrusted to develop the 10 years strategy for UAE, when the executive office was very small, consists of, I think, 4 or 5 team members.
That's amazing. Wow, back then, 1975.
Yeah. And like in 1999, when they started the Internet City, the e-government, the Tijari.com, and the ERP solution for the whole government, she was part of that team. So she was always for me, the role model when it comes to ICT.
Wow, that's actually really impressive. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Doctora, prior to being given the responsibility to lead Smart Dubai, you were the Assistant Director General, and as we said, that's kind of the second person in command of the Executive Office of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid. What sort of work did you do there? I want to understand, what does it mean really to work for the Executive Office of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed? Give us an insider scoop.
Yeah. Before joining it, it was a dream for me. You can't believe, Umar, like when I graduated from my higher diploma, I joined a Department of Tourism after Salat. Because like in Salat, if I want to grow in my career, I need to go to the headquarters, which is in Abu Dhabi, and I didn't want to leave Dubai. I'm a Dubaian and I can't live somewhere else, especially at work. Now I changed, but those days I was still like very attached to the city. I think second or third day of me joining Department of Tourism, I received a call from a young lady telling me, you have an interview in the executive office. I said, what? Interview for what? I'm already an employee in Department of Tourism.
Yeah.
Where is this executive office? Sorry, I'm not interested. Sit down the line. So my colleague, he said, who's this? I said, I don't know, a place called executive office. He said, what? This is Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid office. I said, huh? Call them back again. I said, no, I can't. And it won't sound nice to call them back again. No, I changed my mind and I'm coming for the interview. So I missed that chance.
Ooh.
Yeah, big time. I missed the chance to be part of many other programs from 2001 until 2007. 2007, when I graduated from my PhD, they had hunted me when they formed the Executive Council, which was, again, under the same umbrella of the Executive Office. But later on, when I joined the Executive Office, when they relaunched it in 2011, I was employee number 1 in the office. And the objective of reopening it again is to develop the next 10 years programs for Dubai, building in the existing infrastructure. So you need to develop many processes, from developing futuristic scenario framework, ideation framework, develop a think tank framework, to develop think and do tank framework. It's not only thinking tank, it's think and do for some of the projects of His Highness. And not only projects related to Dubai, but also projects related and very dear to His Highness' heart. The projects related to humanitarian sector, environment sector, sustainability sector, and others. So it wasn't easy to select the team members who will join us.
Of course.
It's okay. You can bring frameworks and many consultant agencies can help you, but to select the proper teams who can work and believe in the same vision, it wasn't easy. But mashallah, alhamdulillah, under the leadership of His Excellency Mr. Al-Gargawi, we managed to, mashallah, to headhunt many of the amazing colleagues that I joined with them, the executive office, and many amazing projects being developed from the executive office. And today, I feel so blessed that I was part of these projects when I see them live around me in Dubai. One of them is Smart Dubai.
Yeah. Smart Dubai was basically born there, right?
Yes. And before it, طبعاً, the 3D printing, the halal sector, the whole Islamic economy sector. Economy. Yeah, and livable city concept, the design city concept, all of them being like born in the executive office. So
the executive office seems to be like this think tank of cutting edge projects. How can we be too futuristic with Dubai as a city? How can we take it to the next level? That's really cool, actually. And Smart Dubai was born from there.
Yeah, not only this, but Umar, also to scan the horizon and see what other successful projects being implemented in other cities. Can we benefit from these projects? Not necessarily copy and paste. Copy, customize, and implement it in Dubai for it to adapt to our environments. And many of those projects were successful in Dubai and died in those cities because we managed to customize it to fit our own culture and society.
Yeah, it's not maybe like a cake cutter approach. It does not always work. It doesn't always work.
No. Also, like when I said the difficult part was to manage to bring the team members, because you need to have different team members coming from a different background. And today you are working with the halal food or the economy, or tomorrow community projects, or day after tomorrow something about technology, something about sustainability. You cannot also afford to build a huge empire. At the end of the day, you want also to be agile, to move fast enough to implement and develop and customize and change and remodel any of these ideas. So your systems and processes should be agile. Your team member mentality should be agile. The whole office, even the look and feel and the design should be also agile. So it wasn't easy. Many of the people who joined us for a short period, because the agility wasn't something built in their own system. So it is difficult to adapt, and the environment just pushed them out. So those years for me were an amazing years to test not only ideas and projects that will be launched, but also organizational learning curves. It is part of my education in Manchester when I did the management science, technology, and innovation. It's how to innovate even internally in your organization. Because when you're talking about technology and how to adopt it in your own organization, in your business, whether it be private or public sector, it's not an end goal. It's the process itself and how to innovate using these tools. So for me, it was a bliss to work in the executive office and to be very close to the decision makers, which was my dream. To be very close.
Your dream manifested. You were living your dream.
Absolutely. And I wished my dad was alive to see me during those days, because he was always challenging me. Where do you want to reach? Because the last post before he passed away was Undersecretary, Assistant Undersecretary, Ministry of Labor. And he was against me going to federal, because he was telling me federal is so difficult and so complicated, and with the bureaucracy, you are a lady, you can't change things, you are one person there. And I said, this is a challenge, this is a green field, and I can do, especially when I have a support of a sponsor in that organization. And I wish he was alive when I took the role being the assistant director of the executive office, to tell him I reached to that high position. Okay, it's not the director general, but at least,
yes. No, of course, Doctor. I'm sure he's proud of you. And he saw that coming anyways, because he saw how ambitious you were from a little girl trying to get into these majalis.
And that's why he was always whenever I do something strange or not usual to my surround, he will just tell my brothers and my cousins, just leave her. Let her do whatever she wants. I trust her.
She has her mind of her own.
Yeah.
So you were working for the executive office, and take me back to the day when you were told, Dr. Aisha, you are going to lead the Smart City agenda for Dubai. You are going to be the Director General of Smart Dubai. You're going to lead a 200 plus organization. And for those listeners who are unfamiliar maybe with the structure of Dubai government, a Director General is the head of this local government at an emirate level, just an equivalent of a minister at a federal level. So Dr. was given this position to lead the Smart City agenda, which at that point was very new, right? Dubai was transitioning into this new Smart City era from digital government. What were you feeling? What was going on in your head?
It wasn't easy, to be honest. In that moment of my life, actually, I started a new journey internally to look inward in me, inside, to understand what do I really want, and instead of running to give the others what will please others. In that moment, giving this kind of responsibilities just change all my plans, because my plans were I will apply for an early retirement and I will go to continue my further education. And my plan was to study a degree in anthropology and a degree in
on top of everything else that you already have in your credential list.
And another degree in futuristic studies, so that I can have this angle. I understand the businesses and technology, but also I want to understand communities and human, and how do they think and how did they grow from day one on earth till they reach today with different communities, and then also study the framework of how to develop scenarios, how to design our life in the future. And when that call came that His Highness want Dubai to be the smart city, we want you to go and speak to the existing team who developed an early pages, I would say, for that topic and take over. I said, no, not now. I'm not ready for it. Even though internally, I was so happy that at least I will do something that I've always dreamed of having or living in, a society that's fully digital, but yet happy and yet can enjoy the benefit of these technologies, because I know that many of my colleagues who are in my age and elder who don't believe in the value of technology, and they see that something aside, and they've always IT departments, the department who will do troubleshoot or put cables and provide PCs, and never saw it as a strategic partner in the business arena. So I took over. Those pages wasn't up to the level that I thought Dubai should have, and I had only 3-4 days to put something to present it to His Highness. And working alone wasn't something easy, but alhamdulillah, I managed to present at least, I would say, a very, very high level thoughts and directions. What do we mean about smart cities and what we should do as a first steps, at least the first 2 years until we mature the idea itself, because even globally it wasn't something known. There's no definition. There's nothing about smart cities. It was only a topic that different speakers used to speak about it in different conferences. And here come His Highness also to surprise me more when I asked that we will need 6 months to develop a full strategy. His Highness, Mr. Gurgawi, he told me, don't mention 6 months. You have 3 months to develop it. I said, 3 months? Okay, I need resources, human and money. So when I presented to His Highness, he said, Dubai is already smart. You have only 1 month and no budget.
From 6 to 3 to 1. No budget.
No budget, because Dubai already smart and Dubai already invested in so much of technologies and its infrastructure. And to be honest, I agree with him. Dubai, that time, was ahead of any other cities.
Yeah.
What was missing is to club all the different implementations and projects, technology projects across the city, to have a harmony between them and a higher view for the decision makers through the lens of technology to see the city. So I work from that perspective and cascade it down to make sure that we bring everyone around the same table, which wasn't easy, but I like to be challenged, and I think, alhamdulillah, I developed that network of leaders in the city from a government and private sector that came together to design and develop the first blueprint of a smart city that today, alhamdulillah, many other cities took it as a role model and is documented in many of the publications, whether it be in the United Nations, International Telecommunication Union, the World Economic Forum, INSEAD, Harvard School of Businesses, and many other.
Wow, what a challenge, Doctor. And you honestly built a legacy. You did build a legacy. And you were not only that, but you were the first female executive to lead a smart city agenda globally.
Yeah, I took the advantage of being a female, to be honest, Umar.
Yeah.
Especially in our community. تعرف عمر, يعني when they see a lady, alhamdulillah, in our community, they respect a lady. Even if they don't want, to be honest, they don't want ladies. يعني we are blessed that our leaders as the sheikhs, they believe in us, not the executives. And I'm sorry to say that. They feel the competition.
Yeah.
But because we are coming from a very respectable community, they respected me, part of the team, and knowing me also from the community, I was friends of many of their sisters and mothers and aunties and so they felt that I'm part of their families also.
Yeah.
I took the full advantage.
Of course.
And I pressed the speed and demanding more and more to finish my project. Today also I'm front of His Highness to submit a successful project. He will not accept any failure.
Of course.
And he will not accept something below the standard that he's always known for as an excellent and number one. So I took advantage of being a female and being a woman to make sure that other men respond to the demands that government are not used to. When the government moved from the traditional government lifestyle to the entrepreneur government lifestyle, which was like late 90s, early 2000, all the decision makers in the government were entrepreneurs with His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid. The government had to shake itself. Email is not enough anymore. If it's not in WhatsApp or even in Twitter, a message, in direct message as a Twitter account to finish for them their businesses, you are out of the game. If I have a request for other government, I can't wait for 24 hours until they resume their duty next day. Government already give allowances for most of the senior employees to have devices, mobiles or iPads, so that they can check their emails. So they don't have any excuses not to read their emails and respond. Okay, I want the life balance for sure, but also I'm a public servant and I'm there to serve people. And this what for me made me proud that I work in the government, because I serve the community. So this was a main challenge for me. And I do believe many of the governments globally, they have this challenge of having the internal employees to adapt to the technologies of the 21st century to do their businesses. It's not the external clients. When they say, no, but our clients want, no. You should believe in these technologies. The moment you believe in it, you can provide services. When Steve Jobs designed the iPhone, no one outside there told him that I want a device that have a camera and mobile and calculator and internet and whatever. No one. And music, no one. It's happened internally in Apple to design something new that shape the people experiences externally and develop the desire of having this new tool. And this was what we need to do also in our city. We would redesign the life experiences in Dubai. And it was really great journey, Emaar. You've seen it yourself, working with other colleagues internally in Smart Dubai and develop and see champions and different level and layers and government entities who supported us to push and expedite the changes happened in the government entities. Without them, it would be difficult to move.
This is the end of part 1 of my conversation with our guest. The second half will continue next week, same time. So make sure you tune in for more exciting topics that we are yet to cover. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that you were able to pick up a thing or two that could help you in business or life. If you would like to hear more conversations like these and you're not yet a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe through your preferred podcast platform. And follow us on Instagram at oneday.thepodcast. And you could reach me on my personal Instagram account at @o_almajali. And last but not least, if you prefer to watch the full episode on video, then you can do so on our YouTube channel, One Day the Podcast. Till next time.